everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm very excited for tonight. We have Craig Seaboyer here from the Antigonish Amateur Radio Club, and he's brought some friends who I don't know if they're going to chirp in or not. But we're going to see some interesting footage, photos, hear some stories about Henry Island. And I don't know, I'm just gonna, they've got all sorts of gadgets here, so we're just gonna let them take over, but let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you very much. My name is Craig Seaboyer. I am the VE1 DSS to those ham radio people. I'm here to talk about our little excursion for one day to Henry Island, which is a small island off of Port Hood. Most people would be here talking about France or Germany or the Caribbean and this and that. We're just going down the road, but I think the experiences we had there really have stuck, at least resonated with me and stuck with me, and will be one of the greater excursions I've ever done. So, in the ham radio world, I am Craig, VE1 DSS. VE1 or VA1 is for Nova Scotia. And we can have a 2-letter or 3-letter call sign. I'm going to jump back between a story about going to an island and enjoying that, and some technical jargon about ham radio. It's, to me, interchangeable. If I go and ask or say something that you don't quite understand or don't want some more explanation, just raise your hand, holler out, and we'll stop and explain it as we go. So I'm a licensed amateur radio operator, basic with honors and advanced, and I've been since 2010. I'm a member of the Antigonish Amateur Radio Club. I am the president of the Nova Scotia Amateur Radio Association. I am a member of the Radio Amateurs of Canada, and I am affiliated with the Antigonish Regional Emergency Management Organization. My meeting will end in 10 minutes. This can't be good. We'll just say go okay on that one. Things might stop. We may have to start Zoom again, because you just gave me a warning. Either I'll talk quicker. Okay. So in my other world, I'm the Senior Electronics Technologist and Consultant at St. FX, been there since '95, and I fix things there. We're responsible for repair and servicing the university electronic infrastructure. I'm not shrinking that skull. That is actually a 3D resin printed skull. How it all started. So I've talked to Bill, which is the owner of this island, since about 2012. I was sitting in the workshop with the radio on like I normally do, and this booming voice come in of, this is Bill VE1 BKR from Henry Island. Is anybody there? So I, of course, grabbed the microphone and said, this is VE1 DSS, I'm in Antigonish. How can I help? He goes, well, he says, I'm here at this island that I've been caretaker for, and my only emergency service other than a cell phone is ham radio. I'm a ham radio operator here with my wife. Is there any way that you could listen a little bit special for the next couple of months while we're here? Sure, no problem. Since then, it's been an on and off thing. Bill is there. He lives in Connecticut normally. He's there for anywhere from a couple of months to a couple of weeks, depending. And every year, at the same time or around the same time, I'd hear this call from Henry Island. Bill's back, this and that. And he's always invited us out. Well, come drop down to the island. Come see us. Come do this. And it's like, well, we're all right. In ham radio, you have a mental image, and I guess in everything, but especially in ham radio, you have a mental image of a person from their voice. And to me, Bill sounded like stern 50-ish-year-old person, very strong personality, very precise in what he says and how he presents himself. Most times we're wrong with that image. We'll see Bill a little later. In June of 2024, we were having a meeting, which we have monthly meetings for the Antigonish Amateur Radio Club, normally on this time. So it's the second Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. And we were having a general meeting, and we were talking about what do we want to do this summer? What's the different activities we can do? Someone mentioned POTA, which is Parks on the Air. So you go to a park and activate a radio and see how many contacts you can get for that. And then one person said, well, what about Henry Island? Can we get to Henry Island? In August, the third weekend in August, there's a International Lighthouse and Lightship weekend, and they said, is it possibility of getting there and activating the lighthouse there? It has two special features. One, it's a lighthouse, a working lighthouse. Two, it's in an island, and the island's not inhabited normally. So it would be a special contact. Great idea, boys. I haven't heard from Bill. I don't know if he's going to come up this year or anything. So the following week, I believe, Bill was on the air. Said, Bill, is this your address? Can I send you some information? So from there, we had a conversation, and from that, we developed a plan to go to Henry Island. It all happened very quick. The pamphlet, I hope everybody's got a pamphlet. One of the folded pamphlets is actually about the International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend and how it developed and how it all started and stuff. So from this, and this is just a blurb about the International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend. From this, we got a plan developed. We had some goals. We had an idea that we'd like to go. Bill was very responsive to have us there. And we planned for either Saturday, unless the weather was poor, Sunday, if Saturday was poor. And actually, we had a third option of going sometime later in the month, as long as the weather was good, even though the weekend, the Lighthouse weekend had gone. And then I like there it says here, objective to the ILLW event is stated as to promote public awareness in lighthouses and lightships and their need for preservation and restoration, and to promote amateur radio and foster international goodwill. And that's a lot of what we do as ham radio operators, is that fostering that good relationship with others. Where is Henry Island? Well, if everybody knows the west side of Cape Breton Island, there's Port Hood. Port Hood Island is the one that is very close to Port Hood itself. Henry Island's about 4 miles out. I didn't know it was there either. This is a close-up from Google Maps. I'm borrowing these from Google Earth. You can see where the lighthouse is, and the house. I'll scoot over here. So this is actually the lighthouse. This is the lightkeeper's house, and this is the path we have to take from French Cove. This is very close, very steep here. You can't come up this way at all. And also you'd have to go all the way around with the boat. So, had a plan, decided that meet at Tim Hortons at 8 o'clock, be down there for 10, take a half hour to go to the island, arrive at the island at 10:30, set up, have lunch, and get things together. Somewhere along the way, Bill informs us that he's invited a few locals around too. And we didn't know what that actually meant. He basically opened up and has before opened up the island to local residences to come over and see what he did to the island, to show them through the house and to the lighthouse. And he thought it'd be a great idea to also then have us there with a working ham radio station so that they could see what we do too. So we were prepared for a few people. How we got to the island is through a 27-foot Zodiac, which you can see in the background of this picture. There's the four of us. I was taking the picture. So there's the four of us. Three are here now. From the left, we have Mike here. Evan is not here right now. We have Jeremy, which is here. And we have Paul, which is here. So thank you guys for coming and supporting us. And that's Dockside Port Hood. As you can see, it's an absolutely gorgeous day. Couldn't have it better. No wind, warm. We're outfitted just in case we go for a little swim. But it is 4 miles out. And we were told, be prepared from the sailor of us, Jeremy, be prepared to get wet. On the other side, there's no dock. All there is a beach. So you have to go into the beach. Someone has to hop out. There's some of the pictures on the way over. As you can see, the water is just placid. The gentleman here is Donald McDonald. Yes, this is his real name. From Port Hood, and he's actually the captain, boat operator. He's also a harbor master, an expert carpenter, and several other things I find out later. So from here, we land on the beach. I have a little video for you. So now, like a lot of these things, this is new to me. So I bought a drone, and you'll see a drone flying. Did my first YouTube video. I sound like red green, very monotone. And my free meeting has ended, by the way. We'll deal with that later. So hopefully this will work. If not, I'll have to collapse.
Hello everyone, my name is Craig.
Okay, hold that thought. Told you it sounded like red green. If I collapse this whole thing. Look, we started at the same place we ended. No. No.
VE1 DSS. This is a short video documenting our Henry Island excursion on August the 17th, 2024. After a short boat ride, we arrived at Henry Island and were met by Bill, W1BKR, and his wife, Jean Marie, K3JGB.
As you can see, my guesstimation of Bill was completely wrong. He's 82, and that's what he looks like. He does have a very strong voice, though. So this is the beach that we actually are landing on. They said, are you going to fly that drone out over the water? I'm going, well, that's what it's for, isn't it? Someone's got to go swimming.
After getting a brief introduction to the island and Bill's and Jean Marie's journey, we started up the hill towards the lighthouse and the homestead. It's quite a trek from the beach to the buildings, as you have to traverse most of the island to get there. It also is a fairly steep incline as it rises 300 feet or 100 meters in the distance that we had to walk in. It was a beautiful sunny day, as you can see, and the conditions were perfect for our excursion. It is noteworthy that there are no bugs, mosquitoes, or black flies or anything on the island, making it a very pleasant walk. The path we were traveling is a four-wheeler path through the woods. Quite a little bit of the dying trees that you see here have been just moved off the path. In most places, so there are, like that one there, one covering the path also. A lot of these trees we feel have been killed by the salt spray as the heavy storms that we've had would launch enough salt in the air to get on the trees and kill them. The lightkeeper's house, recently painted white with a red steel roof, was rebuilt by Bill and Jean Marie over the last 30 years. When they first saw it, it was derelict and falling apart and had been vandalized a lot. There's the Henry Island Lighthouse, where we actually activated the station, built originally in 1901 and rebuilt by Bill in the last few years.
I'd like to present you with honorary membership to our club.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
So what that is we actually gave Bill honorary lifetime membership to the Antigonish Amateur Radio Club. He's very animated, very happy, both him and Jean Marie. And that picture right there, we'll see again.
Call sign of VE1 RTI during our expedition, and made 30 plus contacts on HF, plus several more on VHF and UHF. You can see how close we are to the water on this side of the island as compared to the trek that we had to do from the other end. Along with the Antigonish Amateur Radio Club, Bill and Jean Marie had invited 30 to 40 local residents from Port Hood to come over and visit the island at the same time. The interaction between the club and the residents was very good, with lots of great questions and real true interest in the club itself. This structure is the new building on the island, and will house the museum with all the relics found on the island and a history of the island.
So this is actually the Zodiac coming back to get us from, you can see the end of Port Hood Island. Hillbillies.
The food for the lovely meal was provided by Little Farms, Evan Mosier, VA1 ECM.
We had a good feast. So that's my little video. To me, I sound like red green. I'll boot back into here. We'll just go. Okay. Come on. So this is when we first got there. We unloaded all the gear, brought it up to the island, and our trek that you saw through on the drone footage looked like we were walking very fast. That's 10 times the speed. It actually took us 3/4 of an hour to walk that path up there. By the time we got here, we didn't bring all, that's all our gear, but there was a 4-wheeler there with a tractor, a trailer that brought it all up for us. At this point, it is absolutely gorgeous there. It is about 25 degrees. A nice warm sea breeze comes across the island, and there's not a bug. Like, there's not a mosquito, there's not a black fly. I'm not smacking myself trying to get up. It is gorgeous. We go up the lighthouse, and this is the picture on the right-hand side, to string the antenna from the top rail. Well, I come to find out that Bill and Jean Marie had already got the antenna up by themselves, strung it from there down to the trees on there, set up his own radio, and made some contacts just to help us out. So when we walked there, it was a fully functioning system. His radio was on the second floor. There's actually 4 floors there. His radio was on the second floor, and Jeremy and him sat around and made the first contacts and made sure the radio was working fine and stuff. The radios that we actually used for this excursion I've got in the back table, which we can look at a little later. There's an ICOM, a Yaesu, and my drone is there also. So we can have a look at them, again, back to the technical side if we wish to. This whole station and the contacts we made doesn't use anything except for a bare wire antenna, a radio that you see there, a car battery, and 100 watts. And from there, you'll see in the log where we actually reached and got contacts from. It's quite amazing to think that even in the world of internet, phones, and all that good stuff, we can still use a bare wire and reach these places. And that, to me, is one of the big challenges of ham radio. Enjoyable challenge. So this picture is the one you just saw in the video itself. And this, to me, Bill there, so proud of us giving him an honorary membership. He just, yeah, it made his day. He really made his day. And ours too, to give him something like that. Yeah, it just sums up the whole experience. So this is in the bottom floor of the lighthouse itself. This had been completely renovated by Bill and Donald, the guy that brought us over in the boat. He's also a master carpenter. So the first 2 floors, when Bill got this, were eaten by ants. And rather than the lighthouse being torn down and a metal shack there, he said, no, I'll get it from the government for $1 and I will maintain it. Well, he didn't realize maintaining it meant take out the 2 floors and rebuild them. He could have used modern lumber, he could have used modern machinery to do it, but it's not. He replaced it with hand-hewn lumber and planed right on the island itself. Donald also has a sawmill, which he brought over to the island. Donald has been very useful. Very nice man too. So that's what you see there. We basically set up the radio here by taking the antique kitchen table that was sitting off the side with the relics on it, move them onto the back, and use that for our platform for our radios and things like that. Evan and I ran the wires from the batteries up on the top of the lighthouse down through to here, and we dropped the antenna wire down to the side, wired it up, and had good to go. That we did by lunchtime. And it all worked well. There was no glitches. Like, there was no unexpected issues that arose at all. Which for an excursion like this, thrown together in 2 weeks, was just like amazing, because we expected a few things. So the equipment used is a Yaesu FT991A, which is what you see here me using. It's sitting over there. That's the smaller one. The ICOM IC7300 is the larger one. It's actually Bill's. There's a story to that, why I still have it. And Carolina Windham inverted V antenna is actually the physical construction of the antenna that we used. So I'm glad my wife's not listening, because I'm going to tell you what these things cost. The i3-7300 is worth right now $2,350. The FT991A is $2,200. The Alinco small power supply that you see there is worth $460. And just for comparison, my little drone over there is currently worth $850. Can be an expensive hobby to get into. There are other ways of getting used equipment and things like that. This is kind of the top of the line. If you wanted to spend more, you can always spend more money. But for this, for our this activation and everything I've done so far, this is very, very nice equipment. Talk about logs. This is our hen scratch that we call logs. It was actually transcribed by James. I'm not sure exactly how he got all the information, but because some's missing. And we're actually going to do through the Ham Radio Club, we're actually going to do how to do proper logs. And writing is proper. So you can see some of the stuff that we see here. The first couple of contacts says US 0. I'm going 420, more 430, I don't know. So that I know is a lighthouse in the United States, and that's their number. PEI station, VY2, I knew that. POTA is Parks in the Air, another lighthouse. Germany, Denmark, another US lighthouse, Netherlands, South Africa. Paul did that. Am I wrong?
No, you're bang on. And in South Africa, it was actually a lighthouse. It was the Green Point Lighthouse in Cape Town, if you're interested.
Yeah.
Do you mind? I ran some stats on the logs, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
So we did approximately 29 contacts in a short period of time. The bulk of them were in the USA. 6 of those 18 were with lighthouses in the United States, and one, Craig mentioned earlier that this event was a lighthouse and light ship weekend. We actually contacted ham operators on a light ship in Michigan at Port Huron, which was named, I don't know whether Port Huron was named after the Huron ship or the Huron ship was named after Port Huron, but it was the Huron Light Ship 103, yep. Which is dry docked in Michigan. And the longest distance that we got in North America was actually in California, a ham operator. So 18 contacts in the USA, 5 contacts in Canada, and the closest lighthouse was in Cape Bear, which is at, I believe it's where the ferry used to go off of, not the one in Pictou County, but the one at the other end of the province. Thank you. No, not Digby, PEI ferry. So we did one contact, as I said, in Cape Town Lighthouse in South Africa, one in Denmark, one in the Netherlands, and one in England for a total of roughly 29.
Yep, thank you. And this is one of our goals right from the beginning was be safe, have fun, and make some contacts. And this is not heavy contesting. This is us having fun. That's just us sitting there and having a lot of fun with the different frequencies and stuff like that. Yeah, we really enjoyed ourselves. And next time is one of the things that we're going to take back is better paperwork and legible things. And there are ways to do this better than the scratching that we've got there. But it worked, and we had fun.
Craig, can I ask you?
You sure can.
I don't know that much about ham radios at all.
Okay.
So this may seem foolish
Nope.
question. But like, how do you make these contacts, and how do you figure out, like, how do you reach lighthouses? Did you have the goal of reaching lighthouses, and like, how did you do it? How do you go about finding these contacts?
There's two ways you can do it. You can either park yourself on a frequency and call CQ. CQ. This is Henry Island Lighthouse, CA, is it 0110, I think it was, or 0, something, whatever the lighthouse number is.
10.
Yep. And you can just continue to call. People will find you. People will scan through and hear you talking and stop. If they can hear you strong enough, they stop there and call back with their call sign. What we did was we bounced around to others rather than sitting and calling on one single frequency, although at the end that's what Paul did, was he sat on 21-225, and that's why all those contacts, the last, is it 8 there or whatever they
There
are?
were 10 contacts
Yep.
in 14 minutes.
Yep.
On the second page in the bottom right.
Yeah. So he sat on a frequency and people came to him. It's two different ways of doing it. The bands, you can see the bands actually change from 14, 18, 20. This is how many megahertz the signal is here. So 14, 18. Those are different bands. And each of the radios are capable of all the bands for HF. I think we're saying all right. I'm not seeing anybody glaring at me shaking their head. So you can actually then and look for contacts in these different bands, and either a contest or this lighthouse weekend, people sit and call CQ. Hi, is anybody out there? They come back with their call sign. You make a signal report. If I can hear you very well and understand how you are, you're a 5. If you have lots of signal level, that's a 5-9. Less, if I can't make out all your words, 4, 3. But 2, you can't hear anything. Like, on a 1, it's like, somebody's there. The other way is the signal strength. So it's a S9, S9 plus 10, or S7, S5. So 5-5 is I can hear you clearly, but you don't have a lot of signal level. You give that information back and forth, and if they're a lighthouse, they give you a lighthouse number. If they're parks in the air, they'll give a parks number, depending on what it is. So you look for people, or you call CQ. Does that explain?
Yeah.
That good?
Yeah, I think so.
Anybody?
Yeah, just to
Fix it?
answer more football, we chose to use plain voice.
Yes.
We could have chosen to use Morse code, but we chose to use plain voice.
And if I could jump in, Henry Island and the lighthouse itself are designated in the amateur radio world. One of the designations is what Craig talked about. There's another lighthouse society in the world called something different, and it had a registration number of 227. And it was also registered with islands on the air.
Yep.
And it had a classification for that. So that's the way the amateur radio, the excitement was created by these various events. This was one event in the summer, and Islands on the Air would probably be another weekend later in the year.
Yep.
To give you perspective.
And there's also several contests. So there's a Nova Scotia Amateur Radio Association one in the spring and in the winter, where you try to contact people just in the province. And although that sounds easier than contacting Germany, it is not, because of the way now we're drifting into the technical side. It's the way that the waves bounce off the ionosphere and back down. So from here to Halifax is harder than from here to Toronto, depending on the actual time of day, conditions and stuff like that. We're good? All right. Just the group of 30 or 40 individuals that came from Port Hood. There actually was more at one point there that came on their own boats and stuff. This group actually was brought from Port Hood to the Henry Island by a fishing vessel by Donald, and then they hopped from the fishing vessel to the Zodiac and then brought ashore by the Zodiac. The range of ages, you can see young children to gray-haired people. It's the whole range that was there. All of them went up through the lighthouse, and we were parked and right inside the door. Everybody had great questions. It was a great question and answer time. We were making contacts. People were asking questions. They were wandering upstairs, coming back down. Some people sat there and actually watched us do our little gig, and everybody had a great day. At some point during this afternoon period, I just sat, I think there was a stump or something over here. I just sat and absorbed what was going on. It was, like I say, that idyllic time, weekend, space, perfect weather, perfect breeze, people chattering behind me with ham radio stuff going. In front of me there was children playing, someone was strumming a guitar and singing. It was just relaxing, very relaxing, and it's the way that I remember this weekend so vividly and cherish it. It's a lot of pressures on everybody all the time, and this was just no pressures at all. Everything went well, everything was wonderful. Didn't last long enough, but there's always next year. How are we looking at time? Do you want to bring Bill in soon, or?
Probably a good time, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe invite people to go back and look at the radios while we...
Yeah. So, well, maybe we'll just finish the next two. So this is the Hillbillies. So it's Bill and Jeremy and Paul and Mike and Evan and myself and Jean Marie. And the vivid memory I have of the first memory I have of Jean Marie and Bill is when we were coming into that cove, into the beach. And Jean Marie, who's 80 years old, and Bill's 82, Jean Marie was up past her knees, wading out to get the rope from Donald, that hand on to him. And Bill was there with a four-wheeler and a small trailer to welcome us. It was, yeah. So that's the first image I have of those. And this is our feast. We had chicken burgers, pork chops, potato salad, and Heather made 2 fresh homemade apple pies. We devoured one and left the other one there. So we'll just have a little break. We're going to bring Bill in from Connecticut so he can hear the rest of our talk, and he's going to join us and have a little say also. So if everybody just wants to give us a minute, we're going to try to get this thing to work. Thank you. Anybody got any questions? Yes, sir.
You mentioned 3 different types of signals. Could you explain the difference between the 3?
So the different signals or the different bands?
VHF, HF.
Oh, sure. So HF is high frequency, and that's normally what we're playing with here. It's what we normally use for large distance conversation. There's a number of different bands within that, and Jeremy, while I do this, you can explain the rest? I'm sure you can.
So VHF is very high frequency.
Yeah.
So
Did you say
HF
it actually
is from
started
3 to 30
and finished?
megahertz,
So,
and then VHF is from 30 to
I have to
40 megahertz. And then
I have to go back to my original one.
both that again.
which is in calendar.
UHF is for short distances, it's just line of sight, essentially. But there are repeaters, getting into perhaps too much detail.
I'm used to.
Oh,
But there are
okay, here we go.
repeaters that allow you to go
Waiting for
further
host
using
to start meeting.
UHF.
So,
There are also systems where you can use VHF to go a short distance, go into the internet, and then go anywhere in the world, come out again, off the internet, back onto VHF to talk to somebody anywhere in the world.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
So would many people know Morse code?
Not I.
Not many people use it these days. And you can cheat, you can actually use a computer to generate Morse code, feed it through the radio, and then when somebody answers, your computer will translate it into plain text again.
Gee, that's cheating.
Exactly. But people do it.
Merle Taylor would never have it.
Right on. Does everybody know Merle? Or teach Morse code during the Second World War?
You don't need Morse code anymore to get your license. Once upon a time you did, but you don't need it anymore.
And just while
If you just follow that link I sent you.
I'm trying.
Bill has entered
Your
the
two
room.
techniques
Okay.
of getting contacts. It seems like it's the last 15 minutes that you got 8 by staying on the same channel. Is one of those techniques normally better?
Yeah, now part of that is the time of day. The propagation.
Host is joined.
Oh, here, okay, I'm gonna admit you now.
Later in the day and overnight. But you're right, by sitting on a frequency.
I don't know if you can hear us, Bill.
A frequency.
Loud and clear, do you hear me?
Yeah,
By sitting on
Okay.
a frequency,
Great.
if the propagation.
we're just gonna get
is
Craig hooked in here.
then you can get a lot of.
Can I
Turn
just,
the computer on.
I got something on my screen that doesn't look like it belongs. I don't know what it is.
sorry, well,
Now you just say
As time went on, you get a lot more.
okay.
Shall we carry on talking, or are you ready?
Just gotta get you put up on the screen here, Bill.
In addition to Morse code, there's a lot of other digital modes, one of which is called Whisper. And we did
So,
set up
what are you seeing, Bill?
It's just one
No,
of
yeah,
the
somehow my system is putting the breaking news on the screen in front of everything. I don't know why it's doing that.
Okay.
Oh, you guys are incredible. You see where I am, don't you?
Yeah. No, they can't yet. Hold on, Bill.
I advertised this to the president of the I Am Club here in Connecticut. He said he's gonna try to join. You go.
Okay.
I could probably do something else. Let me give you another.
We can see you now, Bill.
Yeah.
Got an echo there.
It's gonna speak.
How's this?
I just muted myself.
You did, okay. Very well, Bill. Welcome to our little group.
Oh, great. What a great group this is.
It is a great group. We've been just talking about your island and sharing some stories, and just wanted to let you the opportunity to speak a little bit and address the rest of the group if you wish.
Do you want me to do that now?
Let her rip.
Well, first I have to say that I'm really impressed with your club. The guys that I met at Henry Island, you're really what ham radio is all about, and what good people are all about, and I'm just kind of honored to know you. The only thing that is really wrong was I didn't meet you 10 years ago. That was my problem, because as you could see from my wiring job on Henry Island, that I needed a lot of help a long time ago. But anyway, I'm just so happy that you're there, that I know you now, and that we can enjoy each other's company. And also, I just want to, any of the gang that ever gets this way meaning New York City area, let me know, and I'd love to entertain you. So, I live about an hour out of New York, and I work in New York, so I'm there all the time.
Well, thank you very much. And like I say, we did take a trip over there when it was nice and sunny and warm on Tuesday and fixed up for you. The last 2 days been snow, rain, sleet, hail, as you can tell from your cameras. It's downright nasty out there right now.
Yeah. Craig, have you, I sent you the links. Did you get them, and do they work?
I don't know yet. I didn't see a link. I gave you my password and or my username, and haven't seen anything since.
Well, there should be, because I sent that this time did work, and it said it would send you the link, or if you just go, if you just go to the website that you would now have, it would be there.
Okay.
I gave you 4 cameras, 2 one in the lighthouse, one in the house, hooked to the lighthouse system, and then the two of the cameras on the beach that you may have. So you should have 4 cameras, and they should be on your app.
Yeah, it's probably sent. I imagine, knowing the university's filtering system, it's probably my junk mail. But I'll check after this meeting here. We'll make sure that they're there and see if they work or not.
Although you won't be getting anything now, because as you know, the cameras are basically 8 to 4 or 8 to 3 Atlantic time. Otherwise, there's nothing. So you wouldn't have anything now. So you have to check it out when they're on, and they'll be on tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, we will check that out for sure. We did get the weather station working. Donald sent us that information. We got that working, and so we can see that at any time. And anything you need from us ever, you know how to reach us. I agree with you. We should have done this many years ago, but and you always offered. And I'm just glad to have met you finally in person, and can do things like this. And it's been it's quite an honor.
I have to tell you, it's really exciting for me. It really is. And also, I'm excited about seeing that article that you wrote come out in QST, which apparently it will. So that'll be a big deal. So yes. And then sometime too, I'll have to, one of the things we didn't talk about is that I had a ham station on top of the World Trade Center. And because our transmitter engineer, where our transmitters were located, was there. And our transmitter engineer was also a ham. And so we set up a really nice ham station on top of the World Trade Center. And of course we lost him, and we lost the station, we lost him, and we lost the whole television station. So it was a pretty brutal time, and then I was made the president of the group of the New York TV presidents to try to figure out where to put our towers. Where to put our transmitters, which you'd think would be a real easy situation in New York City with all those huge tall buildings, but there are air rights and this and that. It just was, it took 3 years to, and then we decided we'd go on top of back to Empire State Building. But Empire State Building had to be rebuilt on the top. Can you imagine rebuilding the top of the Empire State? That took 3 years and many millions of dollars. So we moved everything over there. And then when they built the current Liberty Tower, we moved back to that. So it was incredible. And for a while we were on this thing called the Armstrong Tower, just north of New York City, but it was only like a 200-foot tower. It was, you know, fairly high up, but we had no signal. So New York's cable penetration went from 10% before the 9/11 to 95% after, because you could get no signal, and it was, and going to all those funerals for our well, there were only two of them for our people was really heavy duty. And if you go to the 9/11 museum, which is a very moving experience, down at the old World Trade Center, so it's an incredible museum. You can see our tower. They have a section of the tower that came down to still, and that, you know, that was the broadcast tower that was up on top of the building. It's really something. So yeah, so we've had some real interesting ham radio experiences, good and bad, in New York. The good was, have you ever heard of the Intrepid Museum, aircraft carrier in New York? Anyway, I was on the board of that Intrepid Museum, which is this big aircraft carrier in the Hudson River. And I talked them into letting me put a ham station there. So I had a ham station on this aircraft carrier in New York, and that was really fun. Especially when you call CQ and then give the call letter W1BKR Maritime Boulder. You know? In New York Harbor, that was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I did that for a couple of years. So anyway, those are my big time credentials.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just.
You guys are the best, and I'm honored to be around you. So thank you again.
Well, thank you, Bill. And conversations like this, I was talking to Donald. I just love to spend time with you chatting. It's one of these things that, although we do it on the air, we do it on the phone, but just sitting there, I can just see you sitting there by the house there, just having a chat. And hope to see you there. Keep well.
There's no experience like sitting in those rocking chairs behind the house, looking up at Henry Island with a glass of wine in your hand, talking.
No, and that's exactly what I'm explaining to the group here. I mean, a lot of these armchair talks are probably about going to Paris, or you've been to a lot of places, sir. Donald once said that you called him from Egypt. So from that, going down the road to Henry Island doesn't sound like much, but to us, to our group, and to very honored to meet you and spend time with you, is very memorable for us, and we hope to do it again this year coming.
Yeah, and I'll have, you know, no matter what, I want to get up to your area occasionally. You know, maybe come and give a talk or something, not about ham radio, but about, you know, my academic field.
Yeah.
At the university, that would be fun. So there are things we can certainly do, and I now feel very wedded. And of course, I've been in the Cape Breton community with Henry Island for over 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your dedication and your time tonight. I know you're a very busy man.
Well, thank you. And when are you giving a big talk soon weren't you going to do something at the library or something like that?
This is exactly where you are right now, sir. You're doing that right now. This is not a test, sir.
So I'll make this, and to anybody there, so thank you. Thanks for being here. Do you have a little crowd there at the library, or is it the library? I mean, how is this done?
So we've got 20 of us here, and we've got radio set up there, and we're just having a nice conversation here. And
Oh, that's great. I'm sorry to have interrupted.
Honored to have you.
Take care.
Honored to have you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll be chatting. That was Bill. And it's hard to explain this little 8-hour or 10-hour tour to Henry Island has changed me so much. But it's changed my perspective on a lot of things, which we'll get into in a minute. Back to think of what I'm doing. So I have to go back through this whole thing again. We could probably do it something other way, but we'll just start from the beginning. Oh, no, we can go here. It's okay. Yes, I do mumble myself a lot.
While Craig's doing that, I'm going to mention a couple of things.
Excellent.
Very important building on the island that was there was an outhouse. They do not have, they have water, but not so much potable water, so they bring in their own water, and they do not have a sewer system, so there was a beautiful 2-holer outhouse.
Oh, gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. With flowers. They actually had flowers in it, too.
When Craig talked about Bill rebuilding the bottom parts of the lighthouse, it was incredible. The wood is about that thick, like Craig said, his mill. It was 8 inches wide, but it's not built like typical construction. It was built, the 8 inches wide was on the level. So 8 inches, 8 inches, 8 inches, 8 inches. It took a hell of a lot of lumber to reconstruct it, but it's done for strength. You got 8-inch board laid one on top of the other. It would need it for the wind and that to survive.
And he did it old school. He did it old school, right from replaced it. He showed us where there was originally a fire here in the lighthouse. You can still see the scorch marks on the upper floors. The ants destroyed the first 2 stories. And I don't know if he had many outside workers even for that. I know Donald says for quite a while they didn't have a 4-wheeler. Him and her, now she's not a very large lady. Him and her carried most of that lumber for the house on their backs. We took us 3/4 of an hour to get up there. And yeah, workhorse. So after the locals left, we had a feast. After the feast, it was starting to get dark. He kicked us out. And this is us getting ready for the journey home. You can see the 4-wheeler. It has a small trailer. We had that loaded. The item on the right side is a powered barge that Donald made because he needed a barge, so he made it. It was originally something else, and he put motors on it and put hydraulics on it. So there was a bunch of other stuff going back from the island to the dock on the other side. We stored our gear on, no, I guess originally we were going to put the stuff on the barge. It was too slow, so we actually ended up moving everything to the 27-foot Zodiac, and we scooted across the bay water. And this is some of the scenes we see over Henry Island. It was just perfect. Like the sun setting there, the warmth, like I say, you met Bill, that's Bill. Like he's just so friendly, so nice, so complimentary, just a nice fella to know, to talk to enjoy his company. Is us going home? This is from the barge looking out over us. Yeah, it's me holding on for dear life. It's the largest boat ride I ever was on. So I did fine, and then the one on Tuesday I was even better, but yeah, no, I didn't get seasickness or anything. Although I was warned that it could be kind of nasty, but it was not at all. It was absolutely gorgeous.
So that island is owned by a family?
No, by Bill.
Oh,
Bill owns the island.
Ah,
Yes, I didn't know that either. And that's exactly how I thought it was a company owned, or because the way he talked, he didn't express that I own the island. This is the way it is. This is how caretaker, I heard, he takes care of it. He comes up and sees it and makes sure. No, the man owns the island. More about that in a minute. So, and one would never know that speaking with him. One would never know some of the other things we're going to talk about in a minute. So, follow up. What did we do after this? We evaluated the excursion to see if it met our goals. So our goals was to be safe and have fun. We did that. But it was going to be, and I said right from the beginning, I wanted to make a relationship with Bill to go forward. This is going to be the first annual lighthouse excursion. And we did that. The man would, if we went to his house right now, he would invite us in and let us stay there. Like, he's told me that, and I'm going, New York City, I'm not going near the place. But that's the way he is. He actually, we invited Jeremy to go to the yacht club. You should come down and go to the New York Yacht Club.
He did, yes.
Yes, just the way he is, the way he talks.
Does he have any history of Inverness County or anything, or were his great-grandparents
No.
from?
No, well,
Why of all places in the world? You know, I mean,
yeah, you should have asked the man, because I don't know. He would have explained.
Looking for an island.
He bought an island. Yes, yeah.
Decent quiet to
Yeah.
begin with, I think, is what.
Can we say a few words about the relationship with Canadian Coast Guard? Because my understanding is he owns the island, he owns the lighthouse, but Canadian Coast Guard maintains the light.
Correct. He bought the lighthouse.
It is a working lighthouse.
It is a working lighthouse. He bought the lighthouse for $1, and then they told him he had to fix it because either that or they were going to tear it down and put a steel shell up,
Yeah.
and he did it. So the Coast Guard actually maintains it and flies a helicopter over there to maintain the lighthouse itself.
Well, just the light, I think.
With the light, yeah, the physical light itself. Okay, so we'll finish this here. We'll be here for an hour or two. So the goals were that. We did a small debrief. I wanted to understand, I kind of took the lead of this and kind of everybody else followed Craig's lead. And those who know me know how I can do that. But I want to know what from the other 4 members, what were their experiences? Were they similar to mine? How could we make it better? How could we do something different next time? I hope there's a next time. Everybody had the same basic idea. If it was fine this time. There wasn't a whole lot we could do differently. Some of the gear we packed, we didn't need and didn't use. We stripped that down a little bit. And there were some other things we could have done better. For next year we will, for sure. The 2 big things that I got out of this was, one said that an overnight excursion would be also nice to use the different conditions for different bands. So 80 meters, it was Jeremy's idea of if we could go into the night more, we could use 80 meters and 160 meters. And because the island is so quiet, there is no man-made interference, it would have been wonderful. So Jeremy's idea is maybe camp there for the evening or the night and get up. Evan's idea was, when's the last time someone spent a winter here? And he was serious. He's the farmer that you've seen there, the beard, and he actually looked into it. And I actually talked to Bill about it, and his response was, I would have done that if I was younger. But no one's actually been to the island from Christmas to April, ever. So, unless they were trapped there, and several people have been trapped there and actually died there, way back. But yeah, so that's the 2 input I got was longer time there. And Bill would actually have us there anytime, if he's there or not there. But we'll just have to see what the future brings. We've chatted with Bill a number of times in the past couple of months. He talked about something I was going to mention here at the bottom of this. So the two pieces of paper that you got on the way in, one is an International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend, and the other is a little story. And a little story is basically my impression of what I felt like going to the island, what it was to me. Very little technical information. It was the trip. It was what I saw and felt at the time. And my goal was to send it to RAC, Radio Amateurs of Canada. They have a little magazine there called the Canadian Amateur. And you can write little articles there and submit it. And I did. And they accepted it. Unbeknownst to me, Bill sent it to the largest magazine in the United States called QST. And they accepted it and offered me a contract and signed it. And it's like, so now I had to go back to the Canadian side and go, I now have a conflict of interest. They want to buy the story and have the rights to it. And the guy from Canada said, oh, that's great. I'm going, how is that great? I'm stuck. He goes, well, we'll just republish your story. Let them publish it. We'll get it from them, credit them and credit you, and we can now produce it again. It floored me. It just, I sat there and wrote it in a couple hours, got people to proof it. It's like, and this whole thing, again, has grown bigger. The Ham Radio Club, we put it, this information out on our web page or our Facebook page then. And people are messaging me going, wonderful article, great trip, great for the ham radio community. I'm going, I just had a little trip and I wrote a little few words with it. But it really resonated with a lot of people. Simple story, great story, a lot of passion into it. So, yeah, it's moved past my little story. I was there Tuesday. It was tranquil, wonderful. Yesterday, it was not tranquil and wonderful. So this is the image of the camera that I fixed for Bill, sitting right on the beach where we landed. Well, the beach where we landed is kind of out here somewhere. This is what we landed on. So this is all foam. This actually is a large strip of seaweed that breaks loose from the other shore and drifts in. And Donald said that he's seen this 8-10 foot deep at times, depending on how much seaweed's there. But this is the same shore that Bill wants, and why he wanted me over there on Tuesday. This is where the seals come to pup. January 1st or January 2nd, every year, he can watch and hear the seals and their pups here. They're there for a month and they go away. So he really lives vicariously through this island, even when he's in Connecticut, goes to New York, because he has to. This is where he wants to be. How to contact us. Oh, before I go any further, I want to just acknowledge the other ham radio operators in the place. Doug Holmes here, VE1AHF, he's the president of the Antigonish Amateur Radio Club. James, VE1JCS, he's the vice president of the Antigonish Amateur Radio Club. Richard, I was coming, I got Gary first. Richard, oh, it's come. GRP, VE. I don't have it written down, so I'm going by memory. And I think we already did the rest of us here. So we have a Facebook group. Our website is coming.
Yeah, it's just waiting. It's already been ordered to be transferred from the old server to the new server.
Yep.
It takes a few days for it to become active.
Yep. So the website's coming. Facebook, just look under Antigonish Amateur Radio Club, and you'll find that. We normally meet at this time in the meeting room across the way. It's the second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. anybody's welcome. If you're interested in ham radio, come. I have two other things, and I didn't know to put these in or not, but I'm gonna anyway. So the gentleman we spoke with is Bill Baker. Well, he's actually William Baker, William Double. No. Go away with that. No, I don't want to donate now. Okay, can you allow me to get rid of here?
Can you just scroll down or will it?
I'm going. I'm trying.
Just donate.
Bill that we just met is William F. Baker Television. Yes, he has his own Wikipedia page. Yes, if you scroll down far enough. No, go away. Go away. He's written books. He has 7 Emmy Awards. He's raised, I think the quote I saw was it $6 billion for public television in the United States? Something like that. You'd never know it. Well, I loved what they say about up here. American broadcaster, author, academic scholar, and explorer. He's been to the Arctic, Antarctic, done explorations both. Like I said before, he called Donald from, you'll never guess where I am. I'm in Egypt looking at the pyramids. And it's like Donald says he does it constantly. He's been all around the world. He would rather sit in Henry Island, talk with us, than do anything else. And I just, again, very honored to meet him. Most other people are going to go and use their Google and find out about Henry Island. And the next thing you're going to find,
He's one of 7 or 8 people in the world who has been to both poles.
Yes.
North and south.
yes.
Wow.
Henry Island's for sale. Just under $7 million. Just under, $699. So I'm going to pass the hat, and anybody wants to donate $1 million or anything more, I will give you a hug. And those who know me know how rare that is. It's $5 million US. It is legally for sale right now. It's my understanding his kids think he's too old to come back, and this is to appease his children. It is 221 acres. If you go and look at some of the pictures, and why I'm bringing this up is there is some beautiful pictures of the island at these things that I didn't get a privilege to. But there's the short side that I talked about before. So it'd be great to be able to walk into the island this way. This you're not getting up. And that's on the back side of the island. Yeah, it's built in 1902, rebuilt recently. It does actually show. I never got to see on the inside of it, but no, somewhere here there's more pictures, but or there's a video. But yeah, anybody who wants to have a look at the rest of the island. I talked with Donald, and I talked to Bill himself. He's planning to come back. Yeah. Children or no children, I think he's going to come back. That's the feeling I get anyway. Is there any questions, any comments? Like I say, it's a different trip for us. It's not anything exotic. It's not anything, like I say, Paris, the Caribbean, and this and that. But for us, or at least for me, the trip here was better. The people we met were better. The experience, we were there 10 hours, was better. And hope to get back, at least for a couple of days. maybe a week. Might run away from home for a week, go visit the island. Any other questions, thoughts, comments?
Make a comment about the state of the house on the island. Those people who have access to the Viewpoint Realty
Yep.
website,
Yep.
they have a lot of pictures of the inside of the house, and it's just gorgeous.
Oh, it is completely redone. It is, but it's gorgeous in an old way. You know, it's very tastefully done. It looks newer, but old school. It is absolutely gorgeous, yeah. I tell you, he's taken the time and the energy to actually do it right and do it properly. So this is 4 bedrooms. The water, there is running water. Funny story. They could get only off the beach, I think 10 feet. The guy says, I can't get any farther with my machine. Bill says, drill it there. So they got a drilled well just up off of the beach that's got water in it. But he said it's, I don't know if it's a half a mile or 3/4 of a mile away from the house. And there's a coal seam close to there. So the water isn't great anyway. So they lug their own water. Yep. If anybody wishes more information about either ham radio or have a look at the ham radio gear over here, I can explain a few things. We don't have an antenna, but or any of the information or pamphlets. I wish to thank everybody for coming, and I guess there wasn't a lot on television, so everybody's here. I thank them, and my friends of the ham radio group, thank you very much for showing up also, and thank you.
That was beautiful. Yeah, it's always interesting, you know, these presentations, not just because it's like, oh, we're going somewhere exotic, but it's like travel really it's so powerful. And this clearly not a huge distance, but a very impactful trip, and so special that you made that connection with Bill and with like-minded, you know, passionate people who are so interested in ham radio. So thank you for giving us a glimpse of kind of that world. I mean, I feel like I got a glimpse of the ham radio world as well as Henry Island, and then this very special human relationship. So thank you everyone for coming, and thank you, Craig, for a really great presentation.
Well, thank you.